Blessed be. Can't forget the expensive glasses. Thanking the creator of heaven and earth for life, food, clothing, and shelter, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. How y'all doing? It's a blessing to be here before God's people. Thanking the Most High God for everyone on internet land. And I pray that the creator will continue to be with all of us. I see that rain ran everybody upstairs. So we thank the Most High God for rain, because it's been very hot in New York City this week. I seen temperatures of 100 for a couple of days in a row. But I heard that out west, there were temperatures past 115. I heard that in Rome, Italy, there was 120. And I heard a scientist say that the earth is past its warming stage, but it's in its boiling stage. So, you know, we know that the Most High God, he secures us and he comforts us and he protects us, but sometimes that heat be a little bit different out there. And I'll recommend to all of our elders and even to our young people to be careful how you deal with that heat. Right. Don't be going out there playing basketball in the sun, because this heat is different. Yeah. It's not the same heat that we grew up under. Mm-hmm. There's a different type of heat that will knock you out. Yeah. And if you're not careful with it, you will get hurt. So stay hydrated. That's right. Remember to cover your head and do all the right things that you need to do. And if you live in an apartment, you don't have a AC, you don't have a cooling system, something to keep you cool, especially if you're an elder, let someone know, please. Don't sit in an apartment that's just burning up and you don't have no way of cooling off, because you say, oh, when I was young, I used to take. You're not young anymore. Understand that. You're not young anymore, and things happen. Body goes through changes, and you could really affect your health if you don't take care of yourself. You know, sometimes I look at myself and the things that happen and the things that and me working out and doing the things that I do. I can't do the same amount of miles that I used to do when I was young. Mm-hmm. And at the same pace. I can't do it anymore. And no matter how much you try to push your body to do it, you just can't do it, because it's called age. Right. And that's what that is. So I thank the creator of heaven and earth for life, food, clothing, and shelter, and understanding. At this time, I want to speak about anger, the word anger. You seen the email I sent you? I don't. I want to speak about the word anger and what it entails and the things that come behind anger and how we react and the things that hurt us as we react with anger. You know, anger is, Nasi Barak has a song called Anger is a Negative. It's anger. It's called Anger. And he says in that anger is a negative. You know, he uses a lot of proverbs and things of that manner, but we have to be aware of our anger, because anger could kill us. Anger could cause us to leave out of here. Anger could cause your blood pressure to rise and destroy your kidneys. Anger could do so many things to you. As you get older, you're supposed to mellow out, because your body can't take the pressure of your change of emotions so suddenly. Right. A young person could take it a little bit more because their bodies are equipped to take that stress. Mm-hmm. But as you get older, you have to be aware of your surroundings and how you react to things. You can't be angry so quick, because anger will affect you negatively. Right. You begin, if you ever get angry and then you get a headache right away, that means your blood pressure shot up. You might not be a blood pressure person, but your body is reacting to your emotions. So when he says in the song, anger is a negative emotion, that's what it means, because it could make your body go through such changes to where you could lose your life. So we have to be able to control our anger and understand that anger will get us in a lot of trouble. Not only physically, but also with other people. When we're angry, we say things out of our mouths. And you say, I didn't mean it, but you already said them. And you can't take it back. When you're angry, you beat your children in anger. That's not good either. Beating your children or chastising children in anger is not good. How many times have you heard that children die because of the shaken syndrome? That's anger. Shut up, be quiet. And this is all PTSD and things that's been passed down to us because our parents did certain things. They weren't equipped to be able to take care of us. Some of us were raised up with single mothers, with single parents that didn't know how to deal with us and were stressed out because they had too many children in the house and didn't know how to deal with you. You know? So I know sometimes we speak about the, parents, throwing a frying pan at you and doing all those things. And, we survived it, but some people didn't. Think about it. Some people didn't. Some people got hit in the head with that frying pan, with that skillet, and they're not here to talk about it, but we don't hear about those stories. Right. So we can't do things in anger because anger brings the worst out of us. And we have to have understanding in everything that we do. Anger is very negative. We get into disagreements with each other as Israel, and this is what God tells us about when you fight with a brother or a sister, right? Or you have a disagreement and you get into a fight. Is liability behind your anger. That's right. So if you cause someone to lose time to where they cannot work anymore, now you have to take care of them. You have to take care of their families. So this is all comes with anger and not being able to deal with a rational spirit or a rational mind. This is all anger. So you got the document? Start from the top. In Hebrew, the meaning of the word anger.
Anger. The word for it in Hebrew is af.
Af.
Which means anger, nostrils, or nose.
So af is also nose, right? So the connotation or the meaning behind it is when we get angry, our noses flare up. So you see, like, so basically it's like an expression of anger. So af really means nose, but it also means that expression that you make when your nose flares up when you get angry. Let us go.
Anah, to be angry, to be displeased, to breathe hard.
To breathe hard. When you get mad and your mother saying, what you doing all that huffing and puffing for? What you doing all that hard breathing for? What you think you're going to do to me? Right? Or your father say, oh yeah, you think you a man now? Yeah. So that's the af that it's talking about. Although it's nostril, it's talking about that expression, the way that you react, being angry, right? And we have to be aware of that. Let's go to the first precept.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 15, starting from verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
A soft answer turneth away wrath, but a grievous word stirreth up anger.
Stirreth up anger. Now read what's below it.
A soft answer turneth away wrath. This part of the proverb suggests that responding calmly and with kindness to someone who is angry or upset can diffuse their anger.
It could diffuse their anger. So every situation that you see, your ego doesn't have to be involved. A soft answer turns away wrath. Be like, hey, brother, is everything okay? You see somebody's huffing and puffing. My brother, he always talks to me about when they have to make an arrest and the guys is huffing and puffing or whatever, and he be like, hey, calm down. Relax, talk to me. Let's have a conversation.
That's right.
Because if you start escalating the situation, guess what happens? It's going to all, H-E-L-L is going to break loose. So therefore, sometimes we have to have enough wisdom and understanding to de-escalate situations and not allow ourselves to get into that position to where we're at it with each other and then it gets to be an all-out, out-of-control event. Let us go.
When confronted with hostility or aggression, replying in a gentle, understanding, and composed manner can help de-escalate the situation. It implies that responding with empathy and respect can lower the emotional intensity and lead to a more constructive
This
dialogue.
could mean in our relationships also. Because when we go back and forth in our relationships and we start being angry with one another, we start using words that hurt, things could go south real quick. So in our relationships, we also have to control our anger. Men, keep your hands to yourself. Women, watch what you say out your mouth and keep your hands to yourself. Because it goes both ways. Because we could talk about men that go outside of the lines, but we could also talk about women that do the same, that take advantage and put their hands on men. And because he's been raised up not to hit women or not to hit a female, he takes the abuse and never defends himself. And that woman, because she knows he's like that, she continues to do that. Let's talk real talk. I'm not saying that there are men out there that don't do that, right? And that's not right, but there are also women out there that put their hands on men, scratch them, hit them with stuff, do all types of stuff because you know he won't react to that. So it's all wrong either way. So that anger that we have, or whatever you might have learned from what you saw at home, what you saw your mother do to your father, or what you saw your father do to your mother, do not bring it into your relationship because it's going to affect who? The children. So anger is not something that we need to dwell in. Keep reading, my brother.
A grievous word stirreth up anger. In contrast to the first part, this section warns that using hurtful or harsh words can escalate a tense situation.
You
further.
see, so a grievous word, the things we say out of your mouth, you call your wife a bitch. You call your husband all types of MFs. This is reality. This is what happens in relationships sometimes if we don't control our anger. Because you turn back to the person that you were running away from. But we have to learn how to de-escalate in our situation. We have to have more empathy and we have to have more compassion because this is the person that you say you love. So how can you love a person and you talk about them and you treat them anyhow? Whichever way you want to. Let us go.
If someone responds to anger with anger or uses offensive language, it will likely provoke more anger in the other person. Hurtful words can intensify emotions, fuel resentment, and make it difficult to find a resolution.
You wondering why this person is not talking to you anymore? Because what came out of your mouth? The things that come out of your mouth are hurtful. And the things that you say about people are hurtful. So that's why that person is not talking to you anymore. You walking around like, I don't know why he's not talking to me no more. I don't know why she's not talking to me anymore. You know exactly why they're not talking to you. Let us go.
In summary, the proverb teaches us the importance of choosing our words carefully when dealing with conflict or difficult situations. Responding with a soft and understanding tone can help to dissolve anger and promote understanding and reconciliation. On the other hand, responding with harsh or hurtful words can exacerbate the anger and make the situation worse.
Make the situation worse. So when we get into our points of anger, when our spirits is beginning to get into that point, the best thing to do is to tone it down, de-escalate. Let us go.
Overall, the proverb advocates for practicing patience, empathy, and emotional intelligence when communicating with others, especially in challenging circumstances, to foster positive outcomes and maintain healthy relationships.
And maintain healthy relationships, because this is what this law is about, maintaining healthy relationships with each other. If we don't know how to deal one with another, then what are we doing? What are we doing? You in a relationship, you in a relationship with a woman, or you used to be in a relationship with a woman, and you're no longer in a relationship with that woman. You have given her a bill of divorce. Y'all are no longer together. Why are you even saying anything out of line to that woman? And even if she's your woman, I mean, these are things that help us to grow. These are things that help us to grow. I'm not saying there's not going to be disagreements. There's going to be disagreements in the house. There's going to be things that we don't agree upon. But for us to become a better people, we have to be able to check and manage our anger. Right. Empathy. Understanding each other. Let us go to the next.
Proverbs 15, verse 18. A wrathful man stirreth up discord, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife.
A wrathful man stirreth up discord, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife. So if you're hanging around with a person who's prone to violence, right? That's prone to, I get it popping. Your friend is that friend that whenever you go out, y'all get into a fight. That's the person that you need to not be around. If you know you are hanging around with people that whenever they go out, they get into stuff constantly, those are the people that you need to cut off, because eventually they're going to cost you in the long run. Might cost you your life. And I've heard of those situations all the time. Somebody get in between. No, it's okay, bro. It's okay. Trying to help their friend and trying to stop the person who's trying to come in between to protect their friend, and they catch the bullet. These are things that happen. These are things that happen. We hang around with the wrong people, right? And they stir up discord, meaning every time they're around, they ready to go to blows. They get drunk, they start drinking, or don't even have to be drunk. It's just that's their spirit. Mm-hmm. We have to be careful with those who we hang out, because they will lead us astray, or they will cause us harm in our lives. It says, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife. The person that's slow to anger, you're not going to see them in too much of anything. Mm-hmm. And when you see them angry, not saying that anger is right, but when you see them angry, you know that that's a justified anger, because it takes them a long time to get there. Mm-hmm. Talk to me. Right. Like Chief Prince Jeriel, if you see him angry, it's because somebody really messed with him or really got him to that point, because it takes a long time for him to get angry. My brother, Chief Azaria, if you see him get angry, it took a long time. He's going to talk soft to you. He's going to try to appease the situation, brother. But if he gets to that point where he's ready to go, then those are the worst people to try to hold back, because they justified in their anger, because they know they tried every avenue. So we have to get to the point where spiritually, we could get to the point where we don't let words shift our spirit with each other, in our relationships, with our friendships, with people in the street. We got to get to that, because we're not getting younger, we're getting older. And you feel it in that stress kills. That thing going to affect your kidneys, and you're going to have bad kidneys after a while. Blood pressure shoots up. You don't want that. There you go, stroke, heart attack, all of the things that come with it. Let us go.
Proverbs 16, verse 32.
Uh-huh.
He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city.
He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. So the mighty depends on his strength. But if you're slow to anger, you're better than that person. Why? Because you discern and you think. Calling people out their names, you're doing all types of stuff, you're carrying on. As an Israelite, you're in the street, and you're carrying on, and people see you, and people recognize what you are. Mm-hmm. But your anger gets the best of you. And he that ruleth his spirit, than he that taketh a city. Because the one who rules the spirit is wise enough to go and take a city. Mm-hmm. So the person who could control their spirit is better than a warrior that could go in and take over an entire city, because being able to control your spirit, you don't let situations shift your spirit up and down. You are even killed. You get out of any situation. But the only way to get there is by having full trust in the Creator. You see, these are Proverbs of Solomon that he gave us because Solomon was the wisest man that ever lived.
That's right.
So Solomon has given us the wisdom that he got through living life. Remember, Solomon built houses of worship to false deities. And at the end of his life, he realized what he did was wrong, but he was deemed the wisest man that ever lived. Let us go.
Proverbs 19, verse 11. It is the discretion of a man to be slow to anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression.
It is the discretion of a man to be slow to anger, and it is his glory to pass over transgression. This is for young men, because those are the ones that usually they spirit shift into a quick, you ready to go, right? That has gotten our people into a lot of deaths. This is what's happening in our communities. That the egos that we have and those angry spirits that we have, whatever it might be that's going on. Because sometimes that comes from what's happening at home. You get no love at home, so if you get no love at home, how you going? If your mother don't love you, how you going to love your brother in the street? How you going? Man, my mother talked to me. She talks down to me. She kicks me. She slaps me. She does all of this. By the time you go outside, you're ready to kill something. I was looking at a document. I'm going away from topic a little, but I was looking at a documentary on HBO by Oscar De La Hoya, and he was talking about his mother. And his mother, she showed him no love. Everything was, he said he got hit by a car one time. He was underneath the car. And, you know, he just went to chase the ball. And he was underneath the car. And the mother, he figured his mother was coming to see if he was okay, to embrace him, to hug him, make sure he was, he said she drug him out from underneath the car and started slapping him. She said, my mother, he said, I got so numb to getting slapped and her beating on me. And my other siblings were just getting away with whatever. And it was like, she just had this pressure on me. And it was like, I didn't know whether my mother loved me or hated me. So I know she loved me, but, you know, she never told me that she loved me. And he said he got it in his mind so bad that, because he said, I know I can't hit my mother. He said, but whenever he would go in the ring, this is what he said. Whenever he would go in the ring, he would put his mother's face in the opponent's body and just start punching. Took all his rage out on his opponents. So we have to be careful what we do with these children. You have to show them love. Yes, it says, chastise them for they will not die, but you have to do it in wisdom. I'm not against chastising our children, but we have to do it in wisdom. Those ways that we would chastise, some of those things were barbaric. And we have to admit to it. Right, and it doesn't always have to be physical. Watching the wall for about 3 hours works too. Yeah, they used to do that to us. So go stand in that corner right there. Yeah, take it, whatever it might be. But we have to find means to be able to correct these children, right? But not being abusive, not killing them, not doing extreme things. Yes, sometimes they need lashes, but you have to know how you're going to do it. And I could admit, like, I have my older set of kids, and I got a younger set of kids. I'm not the same guy that I was when I was 23 and 24. I was more gung-ho. Now it's like you deal with more wisdom. You talk a little bit more. You know what I mean? The little that you give is not really, it's just to scare them, you know? It's just to get them all reactive, little pluck, back. You know, but not like my younger kids. They look at me like I'm soft. My older kids, they're like, you soft, man. You got soft. Yeah, you changed. You let them get away with murder. You know, how to get away with murder. You know, that's what they tell me. But you deal with more wisdom as you get older. You deal with more understanding. Like I always say, grandparents are the buffer between the parents and the children. Because grandparents are going to do a lot more hugging and talking. They're going to correct They're not going to tell you you're right, but they're going to make sure that the parent, which is their children, don't go too far. Hey, that's enough. Come over here. Bring that boy over here. Send him over here. That's what they're there for. It's a balance. That's why we need families. We need to be around each other. We need to be around one another, because when things go haywire, there's always a balance. Let us go.
This part of the proverb emphasizes the importance of exercising wisdom and self-discipline when faced with situations that might provoke anger or frustration. Instead of reacting impulsively and allowing emotions to take over, a person with discretion exercises restraint and chooses to respond thoughtfully.
Respond thoughtfully. Is always important to think when you're under pressure. That's one thing that we do not do. To think under pressure. When a boxer's in the best boxers, besides being trained properly and exercising and being able to, there's certain physical acumens that you have to be a top of the line fighter or boxer, right? You have to be able to take a punch. You have to be able to endure. You have to be able to not necessarily punch, but be able to make people miss, or make people miss and you hit them. But besides having that, the most important thing that a fighter can have is his mind and his thought and how he goes about adjusting to a fight. Like people complained about Floyd Mayweather. He run too much. No, Floyd Mayweather was a perfectly good fighter, because the idea of boxing is to hit and not what? There you go. So why am I going to stand in front of you and let you hit me? When I could frustrate you, I could move, hit you, move, hold you. That's boxing. So he was more thoughtful than all the boxers during this era. That's why he retired with a 51-0 record, and that's why he still got all his faculties. He's not slurring his speech, because that's the idea. So when we use our thoughts and we use our mind to control matters and situations, that's better than getting angry and being wrathful. Let's go.
This implies that being slow to anger allows one to approach situations more rationally and make better decisions, rather than reacting emotionally and potentially making things worse.
Making things worse. How many people have we seen make things worse? How many people have we seen make things worse? You don't want to make things worse. Let's go.
It is his glory to pass over transgression. The second part of the proverb extols the virtue of forgiveness and letting go of grudges.
Yes, forgiveness, letting go of grudges. That's a part that we have to help and work and understand. Forgiveness and letting go of grudges. Especially things that are not that serious. We get mad over things. I always use this, like, we get mad that people cut us off on the highway, right? You approaching an exit and people skip the line that they cut into the exit. But how many times have you done it? So how can you get mad when times before when you were rushing, you cut in, right? And now you mad because someone did it to you. Just let them go. Why would you get angry over that? So we have to also understand that we can't get angry over things that we also did. You talked about people before. You did all these type of things. And then you hear it about yourself. You'll be mad with that person forever. But yet you've done it before. That's real talk. You've done it before. So now you can't, in your mind, you can't see how you could forgive a person, but you've done it before. So these are things that we have to understand. Let's go.
When someone wrongs us or commits a transgression, it takes strength of character and moral fortitude to overlook the offense and choose not to hold it against them.
Because if you keep carrying that pain, if you keep carrying this, it affects you more than it affects the other person. So what are you doing? You're holding on to all these harsh feelings, and it's affecting you more. That person is sleeping good. That person is getting all 8 hours of sleep, getting up, eating breakfast, having a nice smoothie, and you wake up with them on your mind. What they said, they are occupying space in your mind for free. Let us go.
The proverb suggests that being able to forgive and move past transgressions is a source of honor and dignity. It demonstrates maturity and a generous spirit, which can contribute to building better relationships and fostering harmony.
And fostering harmony, because now you get to speak to the person, even if they have wronged you. You get to speak, and you get to actually find out what happened. And the person might apologize to you. But if you're holding and you walking around with this spirit, you will never get the apology from the person. Things are just going to tense up on both sides. And no one is ever going to let go. Let us go.
In summary, the proverb advises that a person's wisdom lies in being patient and slow to anger.
Being patient and slow to anger.
Allowing them to respond more thoughtfully in difficult situations.
Additionally,
their greatness or glory is reflected in their ability to forgive and show magnanimity by passing over transgressions, promoting peace, and understanding in their interactions with others.
Read on.
This proverb encourages us to cultivate emotional intelligence, self-control, and a compassionate nature, as these qualities can lead to more positive and fulfilling relationships and contribute to a harmonious society. It serves as a reminder that choosing the path of patience and forgiveness can be more rewarding and beneficial in the long run compared to reacting with anger and holding on to grudges.
Patience and forgiveness is something that we have to work on. We all have to work on that. Because, boy, I could hold something for a long time with the best of them. But when I'm speaking this, I'm speaking to myself. This is a two-edged sword. See, when the speaker gets up here or the teacher gets up here and teach, sometimes he's speaking to himself or sometimes she's speaking to herself. It's not just about what I'm bringing to the people. I could hold a grudge with the best of them and walk past a person if I feel like you wronged me and feel that way. But is it beneficial to me to do that? Nah. Because every time I walk past that person, I have to think about why I'm walking past them and why I feel the way that I feel about them. Now, does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. Because the thing that the person done to you is something minimal. But we have to have enough understanding and know that we can't allow these things to bring us down. These things will bring us down. This spirit will bring us out. Our anger is our worst enemy. I'll say it again. Our anger is our worst enemy. That's right. Let us go.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools.
You hear that? Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. So when you get angry, you're compared to a fool. And you do foolish things when you're angry. You say foolish things when you're angry. Yeah, when you're angry, I'm speaking to myself. I'm not just speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself. When you get angry, you say foolish things. Spouses, when you get angry, you say foolish things to each other that you cannot take back. You be a lion roaring in the house, but in the street, you a pussycat. Roaring with your wife. In the street, some dude talk to you sideways, and you be peace, brother, peace. Peace be unto you, brother. Let's talk this out. You could talk it out with your wife. That's the one you laid your head next to you put your head in her bosom every night. For those of you who do that. Except the Shabbat. Ellie, why you laughing so hard? What you know what I'm talking about? What you talking about, Willis? So, yeah, but you deal harshly with the one that you love, and vice versa. You do the same thing to your husband. We have to get past this thing. We have to learn to love each other. Because when that person is gone, you're going to be crying. You're going to be boo-hooing. Tears, crocodile tears, as they say. So be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. Go to the next proverb.
Proverbs chapter 14, verse 17. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated.
Say, he that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, the same thing, and a man of wicked devices is hated. Go to the next proverb.
Proverbs 22, verse 24. Make no friendship with a man that is given to anger, and with the wrathful man that thou shalt not go.
You hear that? Going back to what I was saying earlier. Said, make no friendship with a man given to anger. Why? Because eventually he's going to have you in this mess. Eventually. Or when the wrath comes down on him, you're going to be with him. And when it's time to get him, they're going to get you too.
That's right.
How many times have we seen that? Somebody do dirt. They come around their friends. And he don't tell people he did dirt. He just around you. You don't know what's happening. And here come the Avengers. He didn't say that he just killed, because he's not going to tell people that he killed someone in the projects, you know, in Staten Island or in Brownsville. He's not going to tell you that he went over there and shot up the projects and that innocent young girl got killed that you heard about in the news. He's not going to tell anybody, no, but the people over there know who did it. And you hanging out with him and you doing all types of stuff, but he's on the alert. He got his head on a swivel. He didn't tell you he did that. And when the Avenger come, he got his head on a swivel, so he get low. He dip, he go into the store, he go into the building, and he gets away. But you the one who reacted too slow, you didn't see it coming. You either get injured or you lose your life. So you don't make alliances and friendship with people like that, because they'll cost you your life. And a wrathful man aboundeth in transgression. Let us go. Oh, go to the next one then.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 22. An angry man stirreth up strife, and a wrathful man aboundeth in transgression.
Aboundeth in transgression. That means because of his wrath, he's always in sin. He's always transgressing because his sin causes him to do foolish things. His wrath, causes him to do foolish things. So he's always in sin, saying things out of his mouth, saying things out of her mouth, and you're always getting yourself in trouble because of your mouth. Threatening people, saying things about people, saying what you're going to do to people. That's you. That's your sin. And you know, when you threaten people, some people don't take threats lightly.
That's right.
Some people might listen to it and be like, man, he ain't saying nothing. Or she's not saying anything. But some people don't take threats lightly. And some people will hunt you down if you threaten them. Yeah, you threaten somebody and you bluffing, you talking that talk and you talking all that killing stuff, talk and stuff like that, and you let that person go, they come back and they not coming to talk because you threaten them. Not saying it's right, but the things we say out of our mouth will cost us in the long run. And we have to be careful as to what we say out of our mouths and how we talk to people, because everybody not going to take it with a grain of salt. So we have to be able to control our spirits. Let us go.
Numbers chapter 20.
So we're talking about now the results of anger and not being able to control our spirits. This is what happened to the great man Moses, right? Moses was the meekest man that ever lived. But what was the result of Moses not controlling his spirit? He didn't get to go into the land. So let's read about it.
Moshe and Aharon gathered the assembly together in front of the rock. And Moshe said to them, "Listen, you rebels, must we bring water out of this rock?" Then Moshe raised his arm and struck the rock twice with his staff. Water gushed out, and the community and their livestock drank. The problem here was not that Moshe provided water for the people. Rather, it was the way he responded to the situation.
It's the way that he responded to the situation. Why? Because he didn't sanctify the name of the Most High apart from his and Aaron. So therefore, now the Most High God, because of Moses' anger, it cost him the reward of going into the land. Let us go.
He lashed out at the people, calling them rebels, and took personal credit for bringing water from the rock.
Right.
Must we bring you water?
Right.
Moshe's anger and frustration led him to act in a way that demonstrated a lack of trust in God's power and provision.
Right.
As a consequence of his actions, God was displeased with Moshe and Aharon. In Numbers 20, verse 12, Yah said to Moshe and Aharon, because you did not trust in me enough to honor me as holy in the sight of the Israelites, you will not bring this community into the land I give them.
Mm-hmm.
Due to this incident, Moshe and Aharon were denied entry into the promised land. This was a significant consequence for Moshe, considering he had led the Israelites through the wilderness for years with the goal of reaching the land flowing with milk and honey.
Uh-huh.
So in summary, it was Moshe's anger and lack of trust in Yah that got the best of him during the water from the rock incident in Numbers 20. This lapse in judgment led to severe consequences for Moshe and Aharon, as they were not allowed to enter into the long-awaited promised land.
So I know people, because they had lapse in judgments, that are doing 25 to life right now. One little mistake. I know a guy that he was with his wife for a long time, and he was jealous for, like, he was the type of guy that anything, if she spoke to someone or if it could have been a friend, he was just jealous. And he was an older man. He was already in his 50s or 60s, and he killed his wife. And now he's sitting in jail because of that lapse of judgment. That lapse of judgment. You just have a lapse of judgment that you can't control your spirit, so therefore you go forward in things that you do, and then the consequences is life altering. This is why I brought this lesson, because a lot of us, we still have to work on our spirit. You be going off, man. You be going off on these sisters, and you go crazy on these sisters, man. And half of y'all are soft. That do that. She spaced it out too. She said Daber and Ha Emen. But yeah, man, half of the people who do that can't even fight. You don't even have the spirit to do any of that stuff. And it's like, come on, man, you gotta be, we have to be better. Right. And most of you sisters that get loose with the mouth, you know what I'm saying? You can't take what might come back to you. But you take and you abuse and you take advantage of that brother, because you know that brother is not going to go that route. And I'm not condoning violence, but understand what I'm saying. Because you know, you've grown up, you've seen it. You've seen situations. Don't get loose with that mouth. Don't disrespect your husband. Don't disrespect your wife. Anger. Use wisdom. Get knowledge. Get understanding. Let us go.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 20, verse 30. Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jehonatan.
So now this is speaking about anger and what it causes you to do. These are the results of anger. Let's go.
And he said unto him, Thou son of perverse rebellion, do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Yishai to thy own
He
shame?
was mad with Jonathan because Jonathan made up a falsehood that David went off with his family to do an offering, and that's why David couldn't sit at the table during the new moon. But they were seeing Saul's spirit, whether it was in favor for David or not, right? So this is the result of Jonathan telling Saul, hey, David couldn't make it. He's not here these 2 days because he asked permission for me to go away. But Saul was not stupid. But Saul already was dealing irrationally, and he was dealing with anger. And this is what he tells his son Jonathan. Read it from the top again.
Thou son of perverse rebellion. Do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse to thy own shame, and unto the shame of thy mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the earth, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom.
So he's telling them, look, as long as David is alive, he already knew that David was going to be king. He said, so you have to eradicate David for you to sit on the throne. Right? But Jonathan and David were best buddies.
Right.
It said the love that they have for each other surpassed the love of a woman. It wasn't that they were men that loved each other in a funny way. It was just that I will die for you before I will die for anybody else. You my best friend. That's all that was. Let us go.
Wherefore now send and fetch him to me, for he deserveth to die.
He said, go get him because he deserves to die. And let's see what Jonathan tells his father.
And Jonathan answered Saul his father and said unto him, wherefore should he be put to death?
He said, what
hath he done?
What did he do that he deserves to be put to death? Let's go.
And Saul cast his spear at him to smite him.
To smite him.
Whereby Jonathan knew that it was determined of his father to put David
to death. If he was willing to kill me, he don't stand a chance.
Right.
But that was Solomon's evil spirit came upon him, and his anger on Saul, came upon him, and his anger caused him to throw a javelin at his own son.
Right.
And his son had to determine if he was willing to kill me, David don't stand a chance. I'm his son. And he was willing to kill me. So anger causes us to do foolish things. Yeah. Even kill our own. Without deserving it. Because there is laws in there. And even with that, you bring them up to the judges. Let us go.
The book of Sirach, chapter 27.
There's Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. Let's go.
Chapter 27, verse 30. Anger and wrath, these also are abominations, and the sinful man will possess them.
And the sinful man will possess them. So think about how you react, because that will determine what type of person you are, man or woman, whether you're sinful or not. Calm your spirit. Let's go.
Chapter 28. He that takes vengeance will suffer vengeance from Jehovah, and he will firmly establish his sin. Because
vengeance belongs to who?
Yah.
It belongs to Yah. Even when we do judgment, we cannot be vigilantes. We have to bring the matter to the judges. Even if someone plucks someone's eye out, you just can't run up on someone and pluck their eye out. You got to bring them up to the judges. And they will determine what is the thing. That's when it's speaking about an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, or burning for burning. Even with the person who kills someone, right, and they run into the city of refuge, then they have a trial, and they find out whether it was done maliciously or if it was done by accident. You have to have a trial. No vigilantes. Let us go.
Forgive your neighbor the wrong he has done, and then your sins will be pardoned when you pray.
You said, what? Repeat that again?
Forgive your neighbor the wrong he has done, and then your sins will be pardoned when you pray.
Keep reading.
Does a man harbor anger against another, and yet seek for healing from Jehovah?
You hear that? Does a man harbor anger against another, and yet seek for healing from Jehovah? How you can't forgive your brother or your sister, but yet you pray to God for forgiveness? Think about your actions and what you do. Let us go.
Does he have no mercy toward a man like himself, and yet pray for his own sin?
Say, you have no mercy for a man like yourself, but yet you pray for your own sin. That's backwards. Because we're supposed to carry the attributes of Yah. And one of them is forgiveness. Let's go.
If he himself, being flesh, maintains wrath, who will make expiation for his sin? If
you're so wrathful and you're so angry all the time, who's going to make expiation? Who's going to go before God, right, and ask to forgive you? Because you're always angry. Let us go.
Remember the end of your life and cease from enmity. Remember destruction and death and be true to the commandments.
You hear that? Remember the end of your life and cease from enmity. Remember destruction and death and be true to the commandments. Let's go.
Remember the commandments and do not be angry with your neighbor. Remember the covenant of the Most High and overlook ignorance.
Overlook ignorance. Let us go. Next one.
Sirach chapter 10, verse 18.
That's Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. Let's go.
Pride was not made for men, nor furious anger for them that are born of a woman.
You hear that? Pride was not made for us. That's a character flaw. Pride was not made for us. And nor furious anger for them that are born of a woman. Those are all character flaws, and a lot of it is learned behavior. What we saw our fathers and our mothers do, we do it ourselves. And we pass it down to our children, and we continue in that vein. And it's not right.